I get to close out the Good News series today. Have you guys enjoyed the Good News series? Well, some of you. Okay, well, I've enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed the Good News series if you've been in the room? It's been powerful. And what's been powerful about the Good News series is I think sometimes we just need to go back to the simplicity of the gospel, the simplicity of what Jesus did for us, and the simplicity that says not only did Jesus die for us, but we are carriers of the good news. We are carriers to a world that needs hope and that is lost and that is pleading for answers. And we carry that hope. And so I'm excited to close out the Good News series today. If you have your Bibles, we're going to be in Matthew 28. If you don't have a Bible, we'd love to put a Bible in your hand. Any kind of Bible that you want. A Life Application Bible is one of my personal favorites. A study Bible, there's a leadership Bible. Come on, there's Bibles. There's all sorts of Bibles. We'd love to get one in your hand. Matthew 28, 16 through 20 says this. The 11 disciples traveled to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshiped, but some doubted. Jesus came near and said to them, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe everything I have commanded you. And remember, I am with you always to the end of the age. So this is a marking moment. Parker started this series with Jesus's first words and first assignments. And now we get to close the series with his final words right before Jesus is ascending into heaven. So he had just died, he resurrected, and now he's about to ascend to go sit at the right seat of his Father. And there's a moment that's happening before he leaves, and there's a releasing moment of an assignment. And it's a moment that everything was shifting. You know, I'm not a college student mom yet, but I can imagine when my kids go off to college, I'm going to feel this shift that you've been with me, you've been dependent on me, I've walked with you, talked with you, and now you're leaving me. That moment hasn't happened yet, but this is the moment with the disciples. In this moment, Jesus had been walking, talking with them, leading them, shepherding them. They were seeing firsthand the miracles of Jesus, and now he says, I'm going to go. And this is where we land in this message. But as they've been walking and talking and learning from Jesus, he gives this assignment to go and make disciples. This is the assignment. So I want to talk to you on this thought today. All I have is all I need. Can you say that with me? All I have is all I need. Let's say it one more time. All I have is all I need. Will you take a minute and just pray with me? Jesus, we love you. And as we come into this space, we just want to see you, Jesus. There's a lot of stories that this room represents. And as we show up today, we are desperate for your presence. We're desperate for your peace. We're desperate that your word, as it's opened, it'll accomplish the purpose for which it is sent. It can speak to the bone and marrow of every single one of us who is in here. So God, would you do your work today? We entrust this moment to you, and it's in your name. Come on, everyone says, amen, amen. Well, if you were here a couple weeks ago, we got to celebrate Pinewood's 7th anniversary. And we celebrated. We're still celebrating. Look hard, and there's glitter. I'm seeing it. There's glitter. There was confetti. It was a lot of fun. Since I was a little girl, I love a good celebration. And with every good celebration is cake, right? So we had a cake. Carson made an amazing cake, and we celebrated. And then a few days later, we got to continue to celebrate with cake because Parker turned 40. Come on, can we honor his life for just a minute? I still have cake. We're still eating cake, and it's just been a lot of fun. But as any good parent would do, if you enjoy something, you pass it on to your children, right? So since we love cake, we want to teach our kids how to make cake. So Nariah, school is hard, right? Like, I see a lot of the college students in the room. It's draining, okay? For anyone who looks at you and says like, oh, wait till you get older. No, school is hard, okay? Right? Like school is very hard. It's draining on our minds and our hearts and our bodies. So one of the ways Nariah likes to come down from school is cooking. And she likes to bake, and she likes to bake her own recipes. So Nariah comes in a couple weeks ago, right after, shout out Pinewood Youth, that has launched from our house. So where I thought my fridge was empty, now it's very empty, opening the doors to all the youth of the city. And Nariah comes in the kitchen after a long school day, and she's like, Mom, I just have to bake something. And I'm like, okay, well, let's figure it out. Let's see what we have. It's probably not much, but we'll figure this out. So she gets in the cabinets and, there's not chocolate chips. So she naturally grabs like Hershey bars, just the barks that you're just shaving. We're out of baking soda. And baking soda is like, I learned as a child that this is like a key ingredient to baking any cake or it's going to collapse, right? Carson, is that how? Yes, that's how that works. So we're Googling substitutions. We're mixing vinegar and milk to make buttermilk. Like we're doing everything that we can to help her make this amazing concoction. So she puts all these ingredients together and somehow, you guys, the Spirit of the Lord is upon her when she bakes. This cake came out amazing. I had nothing to do with it, but Nariah bakes this cake and it turns out amazing. And here's the thing, Nariah didn't have the perfect ingredients, but she still made something beautiful. And isn't that just like us sometimes when we're following Jesus and called to make disciples? We go into this journey, we look at our lives and we think, I don't have enough. I don't have what it takes. I don't have the tools. I'm not equipped. You don't know my past. And we feel like we don't have all of the resources to bring it together. And yet, when Jesus gave the Great Commission, he wasn't talking to perfect people with all the right ingredients. He was speaking to the disciples, and this is what it says in Matthew. It says he came near, but he came near to those who worshiped and some who doubted. I don't know if that speaks to anyone in the room, but I need this because sometimes I doubt. Sometimes I waver. And he says, go. Why? Because he knew all you have is all you need. He wasn't questioning the right ingredients to your life. He said you could be a worshiper, and maybe we've experienced this, that some days you come in or at your house and you're worshiping Jesus and the atmosphere is shifting and faith is in the room and you're going, okay, all things are possible, and you're experiencing healing in your life and you're experiencing an encounter with Jesus and the faith is lifted. And you're going, I have the right ingredients. I can go out to my neighbors. I can go to the places I play, work, and live, and I can make disciples. And then other days we waver because we doubt. And we're wavering and we're just going, okay, some days we wake up and we're like, well, is he really who he says he is? Do I really have all of the power that he says that he has released to me to go and make disciples? But what's amazing is whether they were standing at the place of worshiping or doubting, the same assignment was delivered. He didn't change the assignment. He said, okay, he didn't say, I need my doubters over here, my worshipers here, my faith gifts here. No, he was talking to the disciples, many in which who had doubted along the entire journey of Jesus and faith. And he was speaking to both of them, and he spoke the very same assignment. He said, go and make disciples. Matthew 28:18 says this, Jesus came near and said to them, all authority, someone say all authority. Not some, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. And first of all, can we just point out the intimacy of Jesus here? I've read this passage since I was a little girl. It honestly anchored me in my life. And as I studied this passage to deliver today, there were just things that shook me and stood out to me. And this is one of them. Jesus came near. He came near. He is a near God. He is not far away. He is not out of reach. Jesus came near to them. He didn't say, oh, because you're doubting, because you have questions, because you're unsure, because you deal with addiction, because you have depression, because you're searching for what truth is. He doesn't say, no, I'm going to push you aside. No, he says, oh, I'm going to actually come near to you. Again, he doesn't separate the doubter and the worshiper. He says, oh, there's doubters, there's worshipers, but I'm going to come near. And Jesus came near. It makes a difference that he is near. Why? Because nearness is the very thing that gives us hope. Nearness is the very thing that restores. Nearness is the very thing that says, yeah, you in the back. Nearness is the one that says, hey, I see you in the darkness of the night. Nearness says, hey, you're not disqualified. Nearness is a qualifier that says, I see you. And that's exactly what Jesus is doing in this moment. He's coming in his final words. Man, can you imagine like one strong statement? He's like, I came near, I see the worshipers and doubters, and then I'm going to give a commandment. This is Jesus, right? Like the greatest leader and disciple maker of all time. In one statement, he's encompassing so many parts of our stories and parts of our lives that we desperately need him to see. He's not a faraway God. He's a near God. In heaven and earth, this is what he says. He says, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. This is a full claim. This is a full encompassing claim. This isn't just what we physically see, but this is also what we spiritually encounter. And he is now saying, I carry all authority over heaven and earth. Jesus is Lord over the spiritual and physical every day. He doesn't say that I have power and then holds on to it. No, this is a moment of releasing us into his authority, into his power. The front of this passage and end tie together because he says, I have the power and authority that trumps it all. He's setting himself up here. He's setting us up. Just the other day, we're driving in the van that we like to call our swagger wagon. You know, you have to try to make like dorky things cool when you're a mom. So we're driving. They're not dorky, okay? If you have a van, that's awesome. Like it's a season. We need it, okay? But we're driving in the minivan, and there's 7 of us, and there's 7 of us that are getting bigger by the day, not smaller, bigger. And so the van is getting tighter, okay? The van is not expanding, we're expanding, and we're truly combusting out of it. And so there's many times that we're driving far distances. So we're going to a football game, or, you know, we're driving to school, which is 30 minutes away. And I don't know what happens in tight spaces. I do know it happens. We all feel uncomfortable in tight spaces at some point in our lives, and everything inside of us that we've been holding on just starts combusting. So we're in tight spaces, and a lot of the parents are like, "Oh, that's what's happening." Yes, and so the kids, you know, they either are tickling and wrestling in a very tight space, or singing at the top of their lungs, which we affirm and we love over their life. But many times I'll say the statement, hey guys, tight spaces, meaning like, you know, this is my kind way of encouraging you that this is a tight space. We need open space to do the things that you're currently doing. Let's chill. So the other day, they're in the van, they're getting rowdy. Sila and Zion are tickling to fighting that then lands to biting and scratching, you know how it goes. And I'm just like, hey guys, just a reminder, tight spaces. And then I keep going, hey guys, just a reminder, tight spaces. I just keep, you know, I think I said it maybe 4 or 5 times. And I finally, Parker's just driving, like living in his zone, you know, like doesn't have a clue that we're in tight spaces and the kids are, no, he does have a clue, but he has a way of calming himself. And so I look at him, I'm like, can you send a little help here? And immediately he goes, hey guys, tight spaces. And there's like crickets in the van. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I need this voice more. But the minute he said, turn it down, there was a weight that was carried different in that moment. There was an authority that was carried different in that moment. And Jesus' words after the cross and resurrection carried a different weight and a different authority. The disciples had seen Jesus going and demonstrating his power and authority. He had been demonstrating his power and authority, and now he's able to declare a different power and authority. Why? Because now he had defeated the grave. He had defeated the darkness. He had defeated death, and now he's able to stand with all authority, all power, and say, under my authority, there is going to be power, there's going to be deliverance, there's going to be breakthrough. And before the cross, there was the demonstration, but after now, there was the declaration. This wasn't just a teacher with power, this was a risen king with a crown. And why, like, Jess, why are we, this is the Great Commission, we're talking about making disciples, why are we just landing on authority? Because I believe that many of us get stuck here on the authority. We get stuck because we're wrestling through, do I actually have what it takes? Do I actually have time? Do I actually want to do this? I have too much baggage. I have too much church hurt. I have too much that I'm carrying to actually step in to the assignment. And Jesus starts the assignment with, I release and give all authority over heaven and earth. So every realm, every power, every knee has to bow because he holds it all. So when he says go, I don't go in my name, I go in his name. We don't go in our name, we go in his name. Acts 1:8 says this, and you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and then you will be my witnesses. He doesn't just say, go be a witness. He says, you will receive my power, and then you will be my witnesses. For many of us, we're just stuck. We're stuck and we're crippled, not able to move forward because we have forgotten that when we made Jesus Lord over our lives, we carry this same power and authority to go and fulfill the assignment that he gave us. We sit under a banner of Jesus's authority and power. 1 Peter 2, it talks about us being royal priesthoods. That means, hey, under my authority, now you get to carry what I carry. Now that I carry dominion over heaven and earth, guess what? Now you carry dominion over heaven and earth. That means when you speak, there's not hesitation, like my kids are hesitating in the van. No, there's immediate response because we carry that same authority. I have a stool over here I'm going to use for a minute. There's a verse in Psalms 110:1. I'm going to illustrate this. There's a verse in Psalms 110:1. It says, this is the declaration of the Lord to my Lord. Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. Some of you have been making what should be your footstool into your stumbling block. Some of us have been making what should be our footstool, what should be the very thing, this is a very small stool, okay, here we go. The very thing that should actually propel us forward, that should reach us higher in dominion and in power and authority. It's the very thing that we've said, you know what? We said, I don't have time. So the very thing that should be under us and should be stomped on, because the authority of Jesus actually gives us power. The authority of Jesus actually allows us to step and move through the darkness of our city to go and make disciples. It's the very thing that we look at and we say, oh, I don't have time. So it becomes our stumbling block to the very thing that we're called to do. Oh, I'm not equipped. I don't have what it takes. I don't know what tools to use. So it becomes our stumbling block. And instead of standing on the power of what Jesus calls us to, which is authority over darkness and light, it becomes our stumbling block. We say, you have no idea what addictions I deal with. You have no idea how long I've searched for my inner peace, and now I'm getting to that place of recognition. And it's just, we keep finding areas in our life that say, oh, we just don't have what it takes. I just don't know. The lies that the enemy is coming at us, it's becoming so real in our lives and keeping us in bondage from walking in the assignment because we've forgotten the authority that we carry. And if we recognize the authority that we carry, this is what we do. We say, oh, okay, the lies are coming at me. The recognition that says, I don't know that I have what it takes. And he says, all power is given to you under heaven and earth. It says, no, I have fear. If I present this to my neighbors, if I present this to the people that I work and play with, you don't know the culture and the surroundings that I'm in. If I present the gospel to them, if I try to release the assignment over their life, you have no idea the lies that are coming in. And it says, no, there's no power that shall overtake you. He says, for I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of sound mind. And when we stand on that truth, there's peace. There's authority, there's power. And some of us are just stuck because we're stumbling over the very lies that I don't have what it takes. You don't know my past. There's shame, there's guilt, and we just can't even seem to find our way on top of the footstool because we're searching for everything else around us to seek that authority than Jesus himself. And Jesus says, all authority is given to me. He starts the passage this way and he ends with, I will be with you, which tells me, you're going to be with me? Then you're my person. Then you're my person that's going to give me the peace. You're my person that's going to, when I walk into spaces that I don't feel like I have dominion, you're going to release dominion. When I walk the streets of Pearl Street and I see what's happening and I see people that are needing hope, you're going to give me dominion over this land because he's been given all authority over heaven and earth. Okay, that's the authority we get to live in. This is a reality that I think so many of us miss when we hear go make disciples. We get stuck. We get stuck in the lies. We get stuck in the I don't have what it takes. We get stuck in the I don't have enough resources. We get stuck in going, I don't know the Bible good enough. We get stuck in you don't know where I've come from. We get stuck in people making fun of me. We get stuck in not having boldness and courage. We have to get unstuck. We have to get unstuck. And to get unstuck, you got to be in the Word. You have to know what truth says about you. You have to know what truth says about the world that we're living in to be able to stand on some type of foundation that says, I'm not going to live on a foundation that's wavering and rocky and moving with time, but I'm going to stand on a foundation that's been timeless. A foundation that has been true for all time. I'm going to stand on that foundation. If Jesus has all of this authority, then the question then becomes, what does he want us to do with it? He says, I have all of this authority, and authority isn't mean to just sit on a shelf. Have you ever found yourself walking and living and you just like you carry the authority? You carry this authority to break through these chains. You carry the authority to love like me. You carry the authority to bring peace into chaos. You carry the authority to break off addictions. Jesus releases this authority, and Jesus makes it clear because he says the assignment is to go and make disciples. Matthew 28:19, it says, go therefore, make disciples. Disciples are just learners of Jesus. You're in the room, which tells me you're one step ahead of someone else that's not in the room. You learned something today, or the Spirit's going to speak to you today, and you're going to be one step ahead of maybe someone else that has no idea of the hope of Jesus. So we are all now, I just release you that you are qualified and empowered, that you are carriers of the good news, and that you have what it takes. I can connect with this because we have a go, not woe culture here at Pinewood. Meaning we want you to run with your ideas. We want you to run with vision. We don't want to be having to push you along. We want you to have such crazy ideas that we're like, okay, wait, we don't have budget for that yet. Okay, hold on. We need to reel it back. We don't have storage space for this yet. We want to fan the flame that is inside of you. And this is what Jesus is saying. Literally, he's saying, go. And the context of this in Hebrew is literally saying, as you go. Not, and we can get stuck in the go means Africa, go means India, go means go engage in an unreached people group. Yes, that is part of the journey. But go is also as you go. Who are the people that you live, work, and play with? that need the authority that you've been gifted to be released over their life, to be able to then not just get stuck in learning from you, but to go then and help other people learn about Jesus. He's not only commanding a one-time event, but a lifestyle. Discipleship doesn't begin when you feel ready. It begins when you take the next step. We like to say at Pinewood all the time, we just are here to help you take your next step on the journey. Many of you, your final destination will not end here. I don't think mine will either, okay? So we're all in this together, but you are here now. We tell college students and people that are transient with jobs all the time, it's like, hey, if you're here now, be all here. Be all in, meet people, connect with people, go on the journey with people. Go is the lifestyle posture, and make is the mission priority. I love Jesus and his leadership here because he's making it very clear what the assignment is. He's making it very clear, go make disciples. And so in my studying, I just got so stuck. I'm like, okay, Jesus, you say go. Where are we going? like, tell us where we're going. And we want this clear direction, and we want the clear aha moments. That was me as a child. I wanted these aha moments of like, I'm going to go and do and be. And many times he's just saying, as you go, the people around you. And then I look at this word make. Okay, Jesus, you're telling us to make disciples. That's the church in forever history is trying to unlock this, okay? Make disciples. Okay, we've been assigned to make disciples. And the reality is we overcomplicate it so many times. We overcomplicate it with curriculums, and we overcomplicate it with ideas and systems and structures that we just miss the point all along, just to be with people. Just to walk with people, get eye to eye with the people that you're doing life with, get eye to eye with people that you work with. Ask how they're doing, check in with their heart. Just yesterday we were working out and with a guy that we work out with often, and after we just lingered a little longer and just checked in on him and asked him how he was doing, and he, at the end he's like, I'm so sorry, I think I just overshared. And that's what happens when you come in with the power and authority of peace, when you come in with a power and authority of conviction and confidence because you know who you are. People just tend to overshare because they feel safe with you. And he shared that how him and his wife were splitting up and how he was going through a hard season, and we were just able to love him and just be right there in the moment with him. Let him know we were praying for him. Guess what that's doing? That's making disciples. That's going, hey, I see your pain and I see your hurt. Can I take you to this place that maybe there's peace and love and joy, and can we go on this journey together? It doesn't have to be intimidating. And can I just give another plug for conference for just a second? Because this is our heart. Our heart is to see a disciple-making movement, a movement that spreads way beyond the walls of this building. Our heart is that more people in the city are encountering Jesus, that it never comes back to us. It never comes back to our staff. No one even knows who we are because there's so much multiplication happening in the city and disciples being made because the people of God believe that, hey, God could use someone like me through the Spirit of God and the Word of God to release other people to experience the hope of Jesus. And that's what conference is going to be about. We're bringing in speakers and leaders, and all weekend we're just going to get trained up. Okay, so today we're getting fired up, and conference we're going to get trained up, okay? So that's the heart, and I'm just thankful for his presence and thankful that he goes with us. The assignment can feel very overwhelming, right? The assignment can feel very daunting and overwhelming when we start to look at it and look at our circles of people around us, and we get stuck. We make stumbling blocks to say, well, there's so many people in my life that are needing hope. There's so many people, I don't even know where to start. So then we leave our power and authority to the side, and we just don't start anywhere. It can feel very overwhelming, but that's why he didn't give us just an assignment. Come on, he gave us assurance. He gave us his presence. In Matthew 28, it says, remember I am with you always to the end of the age. Whew, he is with us. He is with us. His assurance wasn't meant to be sentimental. It was meant to be the fuel for obedience. You know, we can get stuck in sentiments and feelings, right? Like, I'm more of a feeler than I ever have been before. I'm getting stuck up here. It's fine. not a stumbling block, okay? Just stuck in my mic. We're moving through it. But the reality is that many of us can get, now I'm like on stuck. That's not where we weren't going on stuck. But we can get stuck in our feelings. We can get stuck in the how do I feel and what feels right for me. And this isn't what Jesus is saying right now. He's not just saying, I'm with you. He's not tapping us on the shoulder. It's going to be okay. Although he is a God that sees that he's with you, doesn't abandon you. He sits in the hard. He cries with you. He grieves with you. He calls us to that as followers of Jesus. But in this moment, it's an assurance. It's supposed to be a fuel to say, I am with you. It's the power source behind when we go. He says you don't have to go alone. It should be the very thing that boosts up our confidence to say, okay, this isn't about me. This isn't about my story. This isn't about my confidence. This is just about what Jesus wants to do through me. And when I stand in conviction and say, you know what, he is with me, something wells up inside of me. We are people that don't want to be alone. We want to know that other people see us. We are people that want to be sat with in our griefs, in our depressions, in our anxieties, in our hardships, and we need that. And then to go, oh, he's with me. I don't have to depend on everyone else around me to be with me. He's with me. It gives me a confidence. It gives me an assurance. Have you ever been given that permission badge? I see some of our team today has like badges on. So if you have questions, we have new badges, you guys. It says, ask me anything or I can pray for you. I love that because now if you need to know where to go to the bathroom, the people with the badge can tell you where to go. We went to Red Rocks Amphitheater. You guys love Red Rocks. It's just beautiful and stunning, and take us to church there one day, Jesus. And so I don't know how we got here. But we had some friends who were singing some worship at Red Rocks. It was a worship night, and they needed a choir, okay? So we got called up. It was a moment. So they asked us to be in this choir at Red Rocks, and of course we're like, sign us up. Like, this sounds like a party of a lifetime. And when we get there, they give us these wristbands and badges, and we go into these backstage spaces and rooms that we should never step foot in, truly. Like, like, this is a great stage, okay? Like, beyond that is just, for the dreams of the Lord, okay? I'm just declaring that, okay? So we go into all of these spaces. We're giving wristbands. We're giving permission for all the snacks and the goodies and behind the scenes spaces. And the reality is we should have never been in that space. We should have never had permission to go on the Red Rock stage in the pouring rain and sing worship to Jesus for 3 hours with a full lit up, beautiful sunset evening of a night with full worshipers with Jesus. But we were given that wristband. And many of you have had these experiences, right? Like, you go to the carnival or the fair, you go to you go to amusement parks or places that you need this certain wristband to get on certain rides, or you need to be a certain height, you need a qualifier. And the reality is, when Jesus says to go and make disciples, he's putting a wristband on our wrist that is saying, I have qualified you. He says the qualifier is not that you have what it takes and that you have all of the tools and that you've read through the Bible 50 times and you've been at church since you were a little kid and you've been baptized minimum 10 times, there's not these qualifiers. He just says, go make disciples and I'll be with you. And the qualifier is that he is with us. It's the permission badge that lets us literally walk into spaces that are way cooler than Red Rocks, into people's lives that are hurting and that need Jesus. It's the qualifier that lets us walk in and saying, under the banner and under the authority of Jesus and under the banner of him, I am now qualified because I am with him. And many of us know that we can be with people, but not really with people. You know what I mean? Like, we live in a very fast-paced culture that we kind of see people or we glance at people, but really seeing people where they are. I remember as a child, my mission in life was to go for God. Literally mission in life. So much so that my very first email was goingforhim@gmail.com. This is not a lie. You can still email it. I don't check it, but it's a thing. And I just remember being so stirred up for Jesus that I just had to do something for him. And I look back on my journey, and as I've unraveled it over the years, I realized that really the going for him became really an idol in my life. And it became the focus and the priority and the mission. Any goers for God out there? Like, it's okay, I'm a goer for God. We can't go without the be. We can't go without the being in his presence. We can't go without the sitting and the yearning and the wrestling and the allowance of the ruptures in our hearts and the pains in our spirit. We can't go and be and stand in the authority without just sitting with him, because we get stuck. We get tired. We get critical, we get weary, we get bitter, we get angry, we get frustrated because we're going and nothing's working. We're going and it's like, I have the authority, but nothing's breaking. I'm going, but there's no change. I'm going, but I have no peace. I'm going, but I still feel unequipped. I'm going, but I'm reading the word and nothing's coming to life in my spirit because everything is out of this do space for God. And really, he ends this time on earth by saying, I am with you. I am with you. I am with you. I am with you. I can say yes on going on a date with Parker, and I can sit in the passenger seat and I can look out my window and be completely unengaged. I can go with him, but not be with him. I can go on the journey and I can go on a date and not engage with him over coffee or over dinner or over lunch. I can completely check out. We've been given that choice to sit and be with Jesus, to be leaned in with him. Jesus is with you. He is with you. The question is, will you be with him? It's a promise. I am with you. Will you choose to be with him? When we choose to be with him, what happens is then we get honest with God. And where there's honesty, there's safety. And when we begin to feel safe with God, now there's trust. And when trust begins to be built, now there's this, I trust you, you see me, you know me, you still qualify me, and now I'm gonna go make disciples. Now I'm gonna obey, because trust propels obedience. Propels it. There's a command and there's a call. There's an action that we're all called to. No one is disqualified from the call. No one is excused from the call. We are all called and all assigned. And we go with him. Can you stand with me? We're just going to open our hands today as a posture of surrender. Some of you need to get honest with God today. Some of you need to get honest with maybe where your stumbling block has left you stumbling. Instead of allowing it to be a footstool, you've allowed this stumbling block to just get in the way of standing in the authority of Jesus. And so you haven't even been able to get to the place of go because you're still just stumbling. And some of you just need to get in the place of honesty with God just to say, I'm stumbling. And maybe you don't even know the place you're stumbling yet. I believe the power of the Spirit can open our hearts and open our minds today to where we need him and where he needs to just come in and fill spaces in us that have been dry and burn up and broken up. And he just needs to come in and do some repair work. And he's going to remind you that the authority that you carry is from him and that he's with you. He's going to remind us that when you're honest, there's safety. And when there's safety, there's trust. And he's going to remind you that all you have is all you need. You need nothing else this morning. All you have is all you need. He is right here. He is with us.